back. We know it's
Woo!
been a while. We know it has been a while.
It's been a
Keeping
hot
you
minute.
guys, looking and thinking behind the headlines and the ballot, and we're back. So we hope you guys loved those special guest episodes that we put out with Katie Banso running in New Jersey's 6th congressional district, as well as with Malat Kuros, who is Democrat running in Colorado's 1st congressional district. So we do hope you guys like those. We did get a lot of good feedback, likes. It's going pretty well. I mean, I keep checking my accounts. I'm getting likes within like almost every other hour. It's like 38, almost 50 for both at this point. But
Hello, Jonathan Swift.
someone join in.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
interesting because I
lovely.
didn't say there's a viewer, but somebody commented maybe the guy joined for a hot second, then left.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. But as always, welcome to the Behind the Ballot, where politics meets real life. We break down state and federal issues, showing how policy shapes everyday Americans, engaged, balanced, and informative. That's our promise. And I'm your host, Mikkel Jenkins.
Thanks, John. And I'm
And
Muhammad Ali. And shout out to
yes,
John for the compliment on the hair. Thank you. Been growing out, been rocking. And MJ, Mikhail, I'm very excited to get back into it. It's been a long time. It feels like 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Unusually long for how short that really is in the grand scheme.
yeah, and we were
Um,
still doing pretty well. I still kept tabs on how we were performing with downloads and um, individuals listening to our podcast episodes, how long duration wise. So we were still doing pretty good numbers wise. And actually, I saw that we actually have listeners in Finland randomly, and
I guess we must.
it's
They
another
must be
European
good,
country.
big,
I
good
think
English
Spain
over
as
there.
well. I mean, Spain is over there. Spain was one of them as well. But I mean, we're in Canada as
Mr.
well, so
Worldwide. That's what we are.
we're really getting out there, and I'm glad that everyone is pushing out our content. I hope you guys keep appreciating our content, and please go to the website. Let us know if any feedback, any changes that we can make, because we want to make this as informative, engaged, and balanced as best as possible for you guys. So we want to get right into it. A lot of shakeup since we last talked, Muhammad.
A
Starting
lot of
with
stuff.
the
A lot of stuff. Economy
so
is
much. I
moving
mean,
bad. Politics for the Republicans is moving bad.
oh,
Things are
god
not
awful.
looking good for their general future.
Yeah, god awful. I mean, as we're on this podcast, I know that today is the Miami mayoral race. So I'll go through it, Twitter to see if there's any results or anything to that nature. But I think I have been seeing that the Republican is starting to pull away. But regardless, just going to start on the political side of things for our listeners. So the Republican Party is fracturing along MAGA fault lines as Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced that she will leave Well, she is leaving Congress
And January
as her
5th,
term
in
ends.
less than a
Yeah,
month now.
yeah, less than a month, and her term ends in 2027. After 5 highly turbulent years marked by committee expulsions, public feuds with leadership, and a growing rift with Donald Trump himself, including her recent CNN statement expressing pity for the president, saying, "I feel very sorry for the president. I genuinely do. It
Did you
has to
hear what
be a
she said
hard
about
place."
Speaker Mike Johnson?
Yes, yeah, I did see that. What she said, called him a loser, basically. Which, I mean, he basically is. He just cowards towards Donald Trump and whatever really he wants. I mean, we're gonna get into the healthcare nonsense that they're trying to push out and so forth. But Muhammad, I think you might be frozen, but or we might have lost you. But we're gonna continue on. Hopefully, you may join back on with us. But as I was getting to Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement, as she was saying, "I feel very sorry for President Trump. I genuinely do. It has to be a hard place for someone that's constantly so hateful and puts so much violence, name calling, and really tells lies, accusing Trump of abandoning, domestic priorities for foreign entanglements, particularly on Ukraine funding, and leaked audio from a closed GOP retreat revealed her and other hardline members mocking Trump behind his back as a emperor with no clothes. So this public and private criticism has fueled a lot of speculation on that she's kind of positioning herself to be a 2028 presidential candidate contender, potentially running as an independent or third party pure America First candidate if the GOP continues rifting from the base's priorities. The fallout is clearly visible, and I'm sure our listeners can definitely see that from the headlines, that the fallout is that at least 15 House Republicans and 3 senators have announced that their retirements or resignations are coming. Many citing, exhaustion with Trump era chaos, which is, I mean, I would be in that same exact boat if I was a Republican. I would feel very exhausted from the constantness of the chaos from the Trump administration to Speaker Johnson to a lot of the bills that they're forcing you to vote on, that you have to go back to your constituency and actually vibe with, to be able to get them to vote for you for this upcoming 2026 midterm election. But that base, well, I should say that majority that the Republicans have will start to go down more and more as we see more resignations. Now, Democrats could reclaim in 2026 the House with gains of 15 to 28 seats, according to Moody's, and other models as well. So there was also a fresh Economist and YouGov poll, a generic poll that was released on December 8th yesterday, shows Democrats leading Republicans 42% to 37% among registered voters, a 5-point edge, signaling potential midterm trouble for the GOP, despite Trump advisors' optimism, which is kind of strange to me. But that, with the upcoming Supreme Court rulings on campaign finance limits and redistricting, could ultimately reshape the electoral map in Republicans' favor, potentially netting multiple House seats through gerrymandering in states like Texas, which we've already seen have gone through that process, where the court has recently upheld a GOP-favored map, adding 3 Republican seats. And just as all this is going on, Trump's approval rating has been volatile. It's been going up, down, 36%, 45%, going back and forth. And I believe now it's got a little bump up, and it's been sitting at 41%. Some polls have it bumping up to 45% in certain areas. But overall, his approval rating has ticked up given his affordability, intervention that he's trying to get with the Republican Party, basically wanting them to push his version of affordability, because as we all know and heard, he said affordability was a con job made up by the Democrats, something that he ran on in his both of his campaigns, you could technically say. We're in New Jersey, so looking more down south at Texas, really, with the gerrymandering of the state that we were just talking about with the court-approved map, and as well as with Representative Jasmine Crockett has now launched a very high-profile Senate bid against John Crine, and instantly shaking up the Democratic primary against progressive state rep James Tallarico, I believe, who I think is the better candidate in my perspective. I've been following Tallarico since he kind of got into the limelight, and he seems like a very down-to-earth candidate who really wants to fight on the issues. He's not those theatrical candidates that me and Muhammad have talked about, like Cory Booker and things of that nature, who are very just outspoken on their thoughts, but not really practical about how to make those things turn into legislation or even monies to their district, state, etc. And the early polls show a dead heat in the primary, but analysis, are warning that Crockett's combative viral Crip style, risk repeating the Herschel Walker style general election flameout in the state's in the state Democrats that have not flipped since the 1980s. So meanwhile, as all this is going on, the potential 2028 Democratic contenders are moving and trying to make some ways within the voters that are going to be within the voters who are going to be voting for that 2028 Democratic primary nomination. So from a state that I actually used to work in on the legislative side of things, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is aggressively pushing back against Kamala Harris's memoir claims about him, as basically stating that those claims are blatant lies, just only meant to sell the book, which is completely understandable on multiple occasions. And then we have, while Governor Gavin Newsom is also touting his refusal of APAC, big oil, gas, and pharma PAC money as a purity test. And we've seen that with a lot of new candidates now coming into the fold, even with Jasmine Crockett as well. She actually has failed that litmus test on APAC and Israel, and she's an individual that is for APAC and Israel, and at this point for genocide. So I am 1,000%. Any Texas listeners that we have, please, please, please go and vote for James Tallarico. Please go vote for him. I think he's going to be a great candidate that's going to care about Texans and actually put forth good and pragmatic ideas that can push the needle forward for Texans. And then now looking on the healthcare front, House Speaker Mike Johnson is outlining a multi-quarter overhaul, promising a vote on initial reforms before year's end and ongoing improvements through Q2 2026 to address the acknowledged systematic issues of healthcare. And I know Trump has been touting out that he wants individuals to get healthcare on their own, which I don't think he understands really how expensive that is. I think that's really idiotic in a way to state that Americans should just, get money, that the money for the premium should not go to the companies, but go to the actual individual. And then you go out into the private marketplace and get your own insurance, which is mind-boggling because insurance itself is skyrocketing. And it's even going to skyrocket even more if they don't come up with a plan that's going to extend those Obamacare subsidies and or provide remedy to individuals if they're not going to do that at all. This is an area where we've talked about multiple times on the podcast, the high range that premiums would go up. I believe I was stating, and Mike Johnson's district, family of four, I believe, making $84,000 would see their premiums rise from about a couple $100 to almost $2,000, basically. So you have Republicans, touting this as, Obamacare did all of this, Obamacare did that, X, Y, and Z, when really they're the ones that are pushing legislation and or not voting on legislation with Democrats to be able to give the individuals who need these subsidies, because it is mostly Republicans and even mostly in rural districts, especially when you start looking at the hospitals and rural hospital closures, which have been expediting over the last few months, given the Build Back Better bill. Then we also have the Heritage Foundation has released its Project 2026. So we all know how Project 2025 is steam rolling ahead right now. A successor to the 2020 Project 2026 is obviously a successor to the controversial Project 2025, which is outlining priorities like countering the Chinese Communist Party slashing regulations and spending, securing the border, ensuring election integrity, expanding school choice, restoring digital sovereignty, prioritizing families, dismantling the deep state, and unleashing American energy production to restore self-governance and economic flourishing. Now, we will see how this Project 2026 is all laid out in terms of practicality when it comes to what initiatives, what legislation, what pieces of policy are they really going to start to push to get some of these things I just said accomplished. As we've seen with Project 2025, they have not held back on any accord. The main example I would say is definitely the Department of Education, which we're going to get to that in our economic section, is actually planning to eliminate their their SAVE program now that a lot of individuals are repaying their student loans on. So we're definitely going to get to that in our third section on the economy. But now, Mohammed, pleasure to have you
my
back
internet
on.
crashed. Sorry about that.
No, you're perfectly fine. Internet crashes happen.
The internet people have chosen me to not have internet for a small duration, but I have returned. So I see that we were just talking about, overhearing you talking about the conservative, the plan they've got for 2026 going forward, Project 2026.
Yes, yeah. There's
quite
a new
bold
plan.
thing, and they're going to win. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are now understanding that they weren't joking about Project 2025 when that document was released, and now we're seeing 12 months in all of the things that that document spelled out, we're now seeing in full flesh. Like I think he's now. I saw something that was crazy. He's thinking about demolishing the federal building that has all of those bureaucrats in there, like the main federal office building. Like I'm just like, what's the sense in that? And obviously, I know that's coming from the soon to be Supreme Court, the Supreme Court ruling on the independent agencies, where they're most likely going to be giving Donald Trump the leeway to remove any independent officer that's ahead of an independent agency, basically, and still basically anyone else. So that's going to be a slippery slope for the Republicans once the shoe is on the other foot, and I'm sure that they are very much starting to understand that, being only 12 months into this
I
presidency.
heard, I don't know how legitimate of a rumor it is, but I heard, I guess you could say I read because it's on Twitter X, that many House Republicans, nearly 24, are looking at retiring in December.
Yes, yep. I touched on that when your connection was gone. But yes, around 15 House Republicans and about 2 to 5 senators are going to get ready to announce their resignations. And I would actually love to know, are these like MAGA individuals that were elected during that time period, during those 4 years of Biden and so forth, changes of the guard, or are these actual hard, real conservatives, like your real conservatives that are like, you know what, I'm just done. I'm just done.
I mean, that's what I'd expect. I'd expect it to be actual conservatives who are really fed up with where conservatism has gone in America, going down the MAGA drain. And if it is people that have like kind of sworn loyalty to Trump who are now kind of backing off because of where they see the ratings going, that would also be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about earlier, Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the loudest, and I would say most notable voices within the MAGA movement over the last few years since its inception. Switching sides and really just coming out against both Johnson and Trump, and I commend her full, heartedly. She said she's received more death threats since going against Trump than being with Trump. So that should say
absolutely, yeah.
So that should say another avenue to like the level of violence that individuals were talking about. I was only, Democrats that are pushing this level of violence, when you have a staunch Republican saying she has more death threats from going against Trump than being with
for such
Trump.
a short time too.
Such a short time too. Yeah, not even that long that she announced that she wasn't going to run. I think it was like when she was going to step down. It was like late November, like I think a little bit maybe before or after Thanksgiving. But still just interesting to see. And I tout her well. She's having that, Frank Underwood House of Cards moment, and I hope she does it very, very well. She won't be in someone that I'm rooting for since to be elected for president or anything of that matter. But I do wish, her well in her, future endeavors to either, reclaim an elected seat as an independent, or whatever she tries to do going forward.
Yeah, I wonder if she's going to take a complete step out of the public life.
Yeah,
I imagine it's a very exhausting kind of thing to have to do, especially when you're. I mean, she was already a provocative figure, and now she's not going against the base, which is an extremely energetic and chaotic. I don't know if chaotic would be the right word. Vindictive would be the right word.
Yeah, vindictive is
a very high energy and vindictive base. Where if you step out of line, I mean Trump. I mean, she went on CNN, was talking about it. She was like, I have colleagues who fear having a social media post made about them by the president. And I'm like, dude, how are these people so cowardly? But the thing is, I mean, I wonder how much of it is a mixture of being threatened about a primary and also being threatened with somebody who's a mad Trump supporter wanting to kill you and take your life because of. I mean, think about January 6th. They literally, multiple police officers died. And one actually died on the scene. I think dude died. 2 died of suicide because of the whole scene, how everything worked out. But then a woman got killed as well. So it's a good example of just with that time with the far right violence that we see. The guy who tried to kill Trump was like a further right guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mixture of all of that. And I wonder how much that's influencing the retirements that we're hearing rumors about. and that we're possibly going to see from the Republican side. They're like, listen, the only way out of this is to just leave.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it seems like that's what their only ambition is just to leave and move away from the chaos, try to distance themselves from something that they clinged to for the past 12 months, 4 years, with him campaigning and so forth, and running on those issues that now they're understanding that, he's basically full of crap across the board on all these things. And then wanting to continue on with our conversation, moving into the second section, looking at legal developments. So there's a couple under legal developments. There are some major wins for the Trump administration's structural agenda. So the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 ruling, has significantly expanded presidential authority over independent agencies, embracing the unitary executive theory and giving Trump effective power to fire heads of the FTC, SEC, and similar bodies at will.
SEC is going to
Yeah.
be a mess.
Oh, it's going to be. I mean, it's all going to be. It's all
Oh
going to be a mess. He's just going to input his own people, and we've seen this all before. I'm pretty sure this is spelled out actually in Project 2025. But there's also a separate 6-3 Rouge decision, which upheld Texas's GOP favored congressional map for 2026 cycle, while the court has agreed to hear a blockbuster case challenging the birthright citizen.
Wait.
Yeah.
I gotta, since you just mentioned it, it's so funny to me how the DOJ is suing California for the redistricting efforts, and at the same time is not rewarding, but giving praise to the Supreme Court for its decision in the Texas map situation, saying that basically these maps should not be able to be sued by outside sources, while they are suing California for doing exactly with the same exact thing. And it's just
it's
so
interesting.
exhausting, the double standards. I think there's gonna be multiple people in this department that go to jail. I think it'll be Pete Hesketh and Pam Bondi, in my opinion, when the dust all settles. And this will be like the Nixon like the Nixon situation, but far worse. Clearly, you know what I mean. This is Watergate scandal is nothing compared to this nonsense.
No, I mean, even with like just talking about the ballroom, for example, there's been individuals who are like not wanting to give money for that ballroom because they're understanding that once Democrats have the DOJ, that the way that they might look at some of these, donations and things in a sense could be more corruption side than anything. I mean, even I think, who was it? I think Boscov's. I'm not mistaken.
I know Jamie Dimon said that. He was like, I'm not.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon.
He said it for his own reasons. He was like, I'm not donating to the
which good for him.
I agree. I mean, he's a smart guy. I dislike him because of his opinions on crypto.
Yeah,
but
even,
he wouldn't be where he is if he's not a smart guy.
Exactly. Boscov's had sued. They're suing the Trump administration so that they can get so they can recoup money once the tariffs are found illegal. I mean, unconstitutional.
And that's the thing. That's the worst part about this Saul is that they don't have that money. They got the tariff money, instantly spend it.
Nope.
That's how the government's going in debt. Any money we get already out the window before we even got it.
Yep, exactly.
Damn.
And yeah, kind of like how you were saying earlier about how almost shoes on the same foot when you have the Republican DOJ going in and looking at California, but you have them praising the GOP Texas map. That's almost the same situation if we're looking at the New York Attorney General Leetta James court case, actually. So meanwhile, she dodged 2 indictments in quick succession with grand jurors declining to charge her on mortgage fraud allegations that prosecutors and James herself called politically motivated retaliation. So a new report from ProPublica reveals actually that 2 of Trump's own mortgages match his description of mortgage fraud. Sounds like exactly. It sounds like the standard the president and his administration have to use to go after his political enemies, including New York Attorney General, the Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, and Democratic lawmakers Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell. So you see here that same instance that Muhammad was just talking about. He's trying to go after the New York Attorney General, even though he's been doing the same exact things. That's exactly the issue that we're seeing here. It's not a double standard. It's a let's just go after our enemies for any known reason, find the smallest thing on them and just go after them, like from Comey. And they dropped that lawsuit to all these different frivolous lawsuits. It's like when he said drain the swamp, what did he mean? He's not getting
Yeah.
anywhere with it. And the
He is
same
the
thing
swamp.
with
He is the swamp.
immigration. He's not getting anywhere with it. Same thing with the economy. He's not getting anywhere with it. And that economy is going to be our next section. But I still just want to, there still are a few important court cases that will be decided, such as birthright citizenship. I think that one's going to have the biggest implications, as we should all know. Um, so the court has agreed to hear a blockbuster case challenging birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment with oral arguments revealing a scary and possible 5-4 split that has conservatives hopeful that they can finally end this practice. So
I
that
have
means
no idea how this is even an argument. It's literally the
it's
14th
in
Amendment
the
is so damn straightforward.
it's in the Constitution, people. I mean, I don't. I mean,
Like,
listen, as I said,
the Supreme,
as I've
it,
always said, it's going to be worse for the Republicans when a Democrat takes over and has these levels of precedence at their disposal. I'm telling you now.
I I think it's insane how you can even try to argue against the interpretation of what that says. Like, well, what's the
Exactly.
jurisdiction of America in an American state? Like, is that really is that rocket science? Like,
Yeah,
why do you need to
exactly.
complicate things more than they are?
No, exactly. It just doesn't make sense. And this really is for him to more so emphasize and to increase his deportation operation, which is not doing that great in terms of numbers. I'm pretty sure
Mm-mm.
Obama and Biden are doing way better than him when it comes to deportation. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's deported the most like Haitians or something like that. I saw a report of which I'm like, I thought you were going after illegal immigrants, but I guess not. But still want to keep on to the legal side of things before we touch on those economic pieces. So Trump aides are increasingly bullish that these and other impending rules, including on campaign finance limits that could unleash unlimited dark money favoring GOP mega donors like Elon Musk, will supercharge Republican prospects in 2026 midterms by enabling aggressive redistricting and fundraising advantage that could lock in House control for a generation, possibly. So, in a lighter but symbolic charged moment, Trump publicly suggested that recently pardoned Democratic Rep Henry Kuehler, we're gonna say
I
that
saw that. I
is,
saw that. Kind of
yeah,
crazy.
he switched parties as a thank you for his clemency. This individual received a pardon from Trump. So this is promoting accusations and attempted quid pro quo. And then separately, we have a federal judge who has granted the Justice Department's request. Get this here still on the Epstein files to unseal thousands of pages of previously redacted records in the Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking case, with releases expected imminently that could name additional high profile associates of Jeffrey Epstein. So, along with this, and I'm not too sure if our listeners might have watched, but that new Netflix Diddy
Diddy
documentary.
doc. What is it
I have
called? Diddy
not watched it.
documentary. Like, what's the official name of it?
It's I forget what the official name of it, but I've been
Yeah,
seeing a
I
lot
want
of
to
many
Google this.
videos on TikTok about it, kind of like summarizing certain points and things of that nature.
It's just
And
called
it's
Diddy. No, Sean Combs, The Reckoning. Oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah. I haven't watched it, but everyone's saying like you need to watch it. It's pretty much insane on just like how corrupted Diddy was, how he corrupted everyone around him, and the things that he even did for Biggie, like having Biggie pay for his own funeral, even though he was dead. Had the biggest funeral ever. Everyone in New York was there, still had him pay it. Ah, gosh, I can't even get into that.
crazy.
On to the next section, economy.
I wonder if he's gonna actually start getting hit with like murder charges for the situation, but I don't know how
Who
that
knows?
legal behind that would be.
I mean, who knows? I know his legal team is definitely caught off guard by all this information because they had no clue about any of it.
Mm,
50 Cent is the number one hater of the century, not even the decade or a day. Like he
dude's
just
hilarious.
he makes me think I need to have more. I need to step up my hating game the way
Yeah,
that he does it. Jeez.
but I'd attend one of his classes.
No, seriously. I mean, I mean, what? I think the other person he was hating on was Ja Rule. he bought all of the first row tickets
It was like
for
first 5
his
rows.
first 5 rows for his for Ja Rule's concert, so that no one was there in the first 5 rows. That's just ultimate hater energy right there,
When
honestly.
you got money, you don't know what to do with it. You don't want, like, instead of donating it, you're like, I'm just gonna hate on Ja Rule.
Right, literally. And then on to the economy. So the
Oh
U.S.
man.
economy is flashing people. Multiple signs, multiple warning signs heading into 2026 with a new Pew Research Center survey finding that 74% of Americans rate conditions only fair or poor, a figure unchanged from earlier this year, but with a stark partisan divide, as 44% of Republicans now view it positively, up from 36% in April, compared to just 10% of Democrats. I'm sure those 44% and those 10% are one percenters or close to it, just about. Because I saw a report that individuals making $300,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. So, yeah, that's troubling. And
Yeah.
then you have manufacturing has now contracted. The 12 months he's been president, 9 of those months, with the November ISM index stuck deep in recessionary territory at 47.2, as 25% tariffs on Chinese goods and retaliatory measures from trading partners add tens of billions in costs. Blue collar employment has fallen by 59,000 in the latest report, the first sustained decline since the pandemic, despite Trump's repeated promises of offshore factories. And remember what he said: we do not have good talent in America. We need more H-1B1 visas. Do not forget that, people. He did say that about the
Yeah,
American
no, it's
workers.
crazy. It's crazy. I feel
It's
like his message is just his whole
it's
product of what he's trying to give out this term is very messy.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
think
I would say
clearly
he's
that's
kind of
what the
like
approval ratings are showing even from the
I
Republicans.
would
It's
say he's
like
kind of like
25.
Biden's messaging in a sense. Like Biden's messaging at
The
first was a
old
little
man with
like
dementia
it was like
messaging that's kind
yeah,
of just on his last kick.
right, exactly. Like we're kind of like, I don't really know what we're going for, what we're voting for, all those things of that nature. Besides just a steady, well, it wasn't really steady hand, but some kind of a steady hand for 2020 from 2020 to 2024. And then there's also more increasing layoff announcements that have topped 1.5 million year to date, surpassing even Great Recession levels in some months, with October making the worst single month for announced cuts in 22 years at 153,000 per Challenger Gray and Christmas data, which shows a 175% surge from October 2024, driven by cost cutting and AI adoption in tech, retail, and warehouse sectors. So I was having a conversation with this. I was at the State House on Monday, and I was having a conversation with our academic officer for where I work at New Jersey Council of County Colleges, and I was having a conversation with her. I was kind of like saying, like, within the next 5 to 10 years, maybe for far spread out. Possibly not if these AI laws are more geared towards no more limiting AI. Let's just expand it as much as possible. You're only going to see two factions of workers: blue collar, AI. That's
Yeah.
it. That's going to be it. You're going to have your AI workers, and then you're going to have your blue collar workers, and then who knows who's going to be of the millionaire class? Because I mean, I know the AI workers don't need. I mean, I know blue collar workers aren't going to need the AI workers on a lot of different things, but I'm sure the AI individuals will most likely need those blue collar workers if those robots, things of all of those, fancies that they're trying to make and push out into the open market don't work out or don't expand as they really see it. I mean, I only see it really going those two ways for a lot of the generation. I mean, when you have 25% of Gen Z really securing jobs after graduation, that's an issue. It's really an issue. And then you have individuals not even having faith in a college degree. Um, Actually,
Oh
another
yeah.
instance on
Yeah.
Monday,
I
I just
was
want to say
here.
this real
Go ahead.
quick.
No,
On
go ahead.
Monday,
It seems like you already started.
they the New Jersey Assembly voted on eliminating the high school proficiency test. Now, I don't think yes. So I don't think that that's a good idea at all, because a lot of the arguments that it was a Democratic led bill a lot of the arguments that the Republicans had, which I was agreeing with 100%, was that, well, if you get rid of that proficiency test, how do you grade a diploma, a high school diploma from New Jersey, if you can't even tell what the reading, writing scores are for that student? How can a college tell what proficiency you're at or where your path should be going academically to get you on the right path? I think it's just going down in the worst direction. You're not really helping out the student if you just get rid of the test. I think someone said it. Her name was Silly Woman Dawn Fantasia. She said we should be lifting them up, not lowering the bar, making it easier for them. And I'm like, I 100% agree with that, because I mean, I wasn't an individual that was great in school during my first early years. So, but I had to raise myself up to meet the standards. I didn't have
Yeah.
standards lowered for me. You just have to meet the standards. And I'm sure every single kid, black, white, Asian, in any single zip code, even though I do know zip codes can become an issue when it comes to funding, property taxes, things of that nature. That's a whole separate issue on that. But I don't think it should just be taken out altogether. I don't think that that's the best way to educate individuals in New Jersey, given that we have
Absolutely not.
even given that we have the best education in the state, in the country. New Jersey usually ranks.
No way Jersey has the best education.
Well, we're
No,
usually up there in higher education.
no
I
way
mean,
Jersey
maybe
has the best.
K through 12 or higher education. We're up there. We
Nah,
are up there.
Chat GPT this.
Chat
If
GPT.
Jersey has a top 5 education, I'd be blown away. Top 5. Heck, maybe even top 10.
No, we're,
Top
we're
10
definitely
US
up there.
state education.
As he's looking that up, I'm gonna go into food prices for you guys. So I know I'm buying groceries. Muhammad's buying groceries, and you're buying
Massachusetts,
groceries as well.
Connecticut. Jersey's third. Oh, shoot.
Yes, sir. I told you.
Man, anytime I think of Jersey, I just think of the people who I went to college with.
Maryland
Dude,
on
don't
there.
get me
I
wrong.
don't see
I
Maryland
guess
on there. We're PA. on
you're
there.
from South Jersey, right?
Yes, sir. Well,
That's why you're a
I'm
Philly fan. Yeah,
basically
not like a Jets or
I'm
Giants
Jersey
fan.
all in one. Born up north, lived down south most of my life. So I just consider myself Jersey,
Yeah.
realistically.
They,
But go Jersey,
I
and
suppose, yeah, the nickname Armpit of America really makes people biased about the state itself. Congrats for you guys.
yeah, we're the
The proud armpit.
yeah, we're the brainchild of the state, realistically. But
Okay.
now moving on to some food prices, we have eggs up more than 30%, and broad grocery inflation running double. The wage growth for middle class families fueling widespread public anger that polls show is dragging Trump's economic approval into the high 30s. Utility rates are rapidly rising, with piped natural gas up nearly 14% year over year, and electricity costs increasing by 5%, affecting over 108 million electric and 49 million natural gas consumers across 49 states and including DC, through proposed hikes totaling 67.7 billion by 2028, exacerbated by grid upgrades, extreme weather, AI data center demands, which me and Mohammed have talked about multiple times. I believe Ohio, Virginia, we were saying were 30% of their total energy was going towards the data centers, and also policy assaults on clean energy. And we've seen this from the Trump administration targeting certain states like New Jersey with their wind farm project, and other Democratic states with their, let's just say, more wind green energy projects, wanting to get rid of them. But I forget who stated it, but I heard they were saying that they wanted to put data centers in space. I'm like, what
I
is
heard that. Dang,
I'm like,
I
what
can't
is
remember who
going
said it
on?
either.
I'm like, and most recently during the holiday season, I went down to Salem County, where my mom lives, which is more like a rural area. And they're building up factories left and right. I was there driving with my girlfriend. I was like, I don't like. I'm like, this place is new to me now. I was like, I'm literally driving. I'm like, am I going the right way? I'm like, what
Yeah.
is going? Like, I'm talking. You look on your left, nothing but factories. Look on your right, nothing but factories. But I'm sure data centers are going to be coming to that area, just given how much land that it has. But that gives to the high affordability for electric and gas. I know in New
Oh yeah,
Jersey,
gas prices, electricity prices have been skyrocketing. The supply is staying the same. The
skyrocketing.
demand has been going up and up.
I would tell everyone, all my listeners, all our listeners, do not be fooled by less than $3 gas. Do not be fooled by less than $3 gas. You are paying more out of pocket for a lot of other things, and you sure will if they do nothing about these ACA subsidies, keep expanding heavily in the AI, you're going to see a lot more of layoffs, high, bills, and more people complaining, and his approval rating going further and further down. I mean, even looking at housing affordability has hit crisis levels. The median home now costs $420,000. More than 75% of listings are unaffordable on a medium income, and first-time buyers are routinely 30,000 short on even minimum down payments at current 7.5% interest. And that is like concerning because you have firms like BlackRock buying up a lot of these homes and just renting them out to other individuals. Trump would say that this is if you continue to get rid of immigrants, it's going to bring down the housing costs and make more houses available. I'm like that.
That's such a
If you
ridiculous
truly,
proposition
if
to me.
you truly, 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 truly believe that, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, I don't. You've seen the numbers on the deportations, but housing is only going up. So there's no correlation on that matter. So it's really not listening to the noise and filing through the noise and coming to our podcast and getting all that information from us, right? but
But yeah, I wanted to add a little bit to
yeah, go
that.
ahead.
Sorry, I just got a little bit of an itch.
No, you're fine.
I mean, the big issue with housing is the interest rates aren't going down despite the Fed cutting rates themselves. So it's a big issue because that causes stagflation, which I actually talked about. Not it was like a month or two ago because man, time flies. But basically, the worst of it is when you're hitting stagnant economic growth or economic decline, and inflation is still occurring, interest rates are still going up. And
I
a big
haven't
reason
seen
why
any stock market
the stock
records or
market
anything
is
like
at
that.
it went down. Now it's in an interesting point. It hasn't plummeted yet that much, but it is not in a place where it's making all-time highs. It may do that this week, but that's how the stock market goes all the time.
Yeah,
I wonder when that bubble will pop. But
it's
back to
gonna
the
be
point.
dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah. Not a thing I would bet on until it happens. But what I want to go further and elaborate on is that there is a lot of in terms of housing, not houses not being built, and mixed the high interest rate that isn't really going down with the Fed's movements. It's really a big problem because it means it's kind of almost out of their hands to control the interest rates in the country,
Yeah,
and on top of that, bonds have been getting positive returns, which is set in that way on higher positive returns. And that only occurs when the U.S. government is trying to get more people to buy the bonds because they're not selling, because people aren't buying them, because they're not confident in how the U.S. economy is doing. So they only buy it when
yep,
the bonds are swung more in their favor for them to make more money off of them. Buying bonds is essentially viewed as like betting on the country itself, like, oh yeah, a company could go under. The United States economy is not going to go under. So it's very uncommon and rare for these bond prices to change like as they have been in the what's the word I'm looking for, in the time frame that they have been.
yeah.
And on top of that, I really do think that hmm, I hope the housing market really needs to change. Like, I can't even come up here. I have my own reasons for what contributes to it, but it's just overall such a systematic mess that they're really pricing out. The average home buyer age is about
40,
46 now.
yeah,
40.
46. I was gonna say 46. Yep.
Yeah, and like just 25 years ago, it was like 25, 26, literally like half that almost. And
And
it's
our
just such.
generation is having kids later too, so that's another thing as well.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I
it's,
think find fascinating. I'm like, what do you guys think's going to happen if we just completely cut immigration with the completely low birth rate in this country? Do
yep,
you really think that this is just going to lead to us having like a big boot, a prosperous society? No, we're going to lose a ton of workers. We're going to lose a ton of productivity. We're going to lose a ton of money, and we're going to be in a situation where, I mean, heck, the billionaires don't really need us for most of what the shit they're doing. All this AI bubble nonsense. This is just all a game in the hands of the rich. And then on top of that, you got companies that just do financial and technical services for companies across the world and countries across the world. I mean, dude, most of the people who pay for X are like Indians and Russians and Israelis. It's just overall ridiculous how they completely disregard the situation and play of the working class and the non-rich, so they can really just hammer in the benefits of wealth for the 0.1%, not even the 1%, the 0.1%. I mean, it should Elon Musk should not have the influence that he does on the U.S. political scale. People who are just in bed with the Zionist entity like Laura Loomer should not have the influence like they have. They're not state employees. They haven't been elected. They don't have any official role within the government, and yet they have this sway because of who they are affiliated with and how much money they have, and it's just ridiculous. I don't agree with Bernie on a lot of things, but like with how much influence people like Larry Ellison, Elon, and more have, it's very clear that there is like an oligopoly in place where the president is absolutely allowing the country to be benefited and like slightly controlled by it, basically, as much as they can woo him and swoo him by rich individuals who completely control most of the country. And it is, I just want to see these people's stock portfolios crash and burn and have them be like thrown out onto the street and taken care of. And when I say taken care of, I mean like tarred and feathered and then like put up to like hang like ducks. I don't mean
Yeah.
we should murder them, but I do think a little bit of American justice would be a fun thing.
No, definitely without a doubt. And I mean, go into this next section. I think American justice is exactly what the middle class wants. Realistically, they just want to be able to live their lives, be able to not have to worry about affording a home, affording gas, affording beef, eggs. Your essentials are now becoming the only thing that you are able to buy because of how the economy has been going on. And as all this is going on, and all these companies are laying off people, corporate deal making continues apace. So with which I don't like this deal whatsoever. I am a huge movie guy. I have seen almost, I want to say, every Marvel movie since like the third or fourth phase. They come out on Fridays. I have terrorized my girlfriend by seeing them every Thursday. So I am a huge movie guy. I love the experience of going to the movies. It just takes you out of your own space for about 2 hours, 3 hours. But this deal that's about to happen could potentially ruin it all. So with Paramount is now launching a hostile bid for Warner Brothers after Netflix has also put out a bid to acquire Warner Brothers. So both of them are saying that they will still continue some level of putting out media for theaters and things of that nature. But I think Netflix wanted more quicker turnover from theater to whether it's Netflix or any other streaming services of that matter, which I think is a complete disservice to the individuals that put in their hard work and time to actually make a good movie. Like I could not imagine watching one battle after another home. Like I couldn't imagine watching any of those movies within the last like 4 years. Like well, I would say year. I would say some of the 2 years. I would say like home. Like that would
On
be
that, yeah, just on TV.
just on TV or something. No, not at all. Like I am live and die by the movies. It's one place where where someone is able to bring their ideas to life in a medium that is appreciative to certain individuals. Like myself, I'm not too sure, Muhammad, if you're a moviegoer yourself, but I mean it's just relaxing every time, getting that popcorn, that soda, sitting down on the big
I'm
screen, right
not a
right in the
common
middle seats.
moviegoer, but I do really like going to the
Yeah,
movies.
it's always a good relaxing time, and talking about the movie afterwards, everything. That's really what it's all about. It's the experience, and also that's why a lot of these producers shoot movies in certain kinds of way, like realistically. And then wanting to move on, Republicans in Congress are floating healthcare reforms centered on high deductible plans and expanded health savings accounts. Moves critics warn will dramatically raise out-of-pocket costs for everyone with pre-existing conditions. Now, if you guys remember, I think between Obama's era, that's when we had the famous John McCain vote thumb down on the Senate floor. That was for the pre-existing condition piece of Obamacare. If I forget what year that was, but that was like his famed moment per se. We actually had his daughter interact with our our Instagram page. Actually, could be
One
someone
of the 12 people to like a post. That still blows my mind.
right? I mean, I'm like,
12
I
people,
love it.
13 people. One of
And
them is fucking John
Meghan
McCain's
McCain.
daughter.
Yep. I was like, wow, what are the odds? And then
Yeah, right.
you have Senate Republicans led by Senators Mike Crapo and Bill Cassidy are pushing an alternative to Democrats' 3-year Obamacare subsidies extension by redirecting funds to health saving accounts without extending the enhanced credits set to expire in January, with a vote expected alongside the Democratic bill this week amid internal GOP divisions, but potential for a bipartisan tweak like a 2-year extension with income caps. On the other side of things, you have health and education. The education department has officially terminated the Biden era SAVE student loan repayment plan via settlement with Missouri, impacting over 7.7 million borrowers who must now switch to costlier options like income-based repayment, ending a program that offered zero payments and faster forgiveness, but was deemed illegal overreach, costing taxpayers 342 billion dollars. And then going forward, amid agricultural distress from tariffs and low commodity prices, Trump announced a 12 billion farmer bailout. Mind you,
I
I think
wanna
that
I
was
wanna
sitting.
touch
I
more on
forget how
this for a
much that was sitting
second,
out
but I had to
before.
send a text to someone quickly.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to touch a little bit of actually about what your opinions are about the
Save
whole health
program or the healthcare
the
stuff.
state, no, not the SAVE program specifically. That we were talking about how the Republicans are looking to shift the money that's for the health insurance companies into HSAs and such.
Stupid.
That I actually think it's a good idea.
I don't. I don't think
That's
that's.
why that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I figured you disagree with me.
I don't think that's a good idea because that's basically putting it into the individual, not the insurancer, right?
And to the individual, yeah. So the
No,
thing is, the
private insurance is
insurance, this
extremely
is
expensive.
this is very common in a lot of businesses that get government funding. Colleges is the most easy to see example, and it's the one that I'll generally really use to back up this argument. College, even 25 years ago, is a fraction of what it costs now. It's been skyrocketing, and the quality of classes has not been improving whatsoever. And in that same time frame, the thing that's been ballooning so much of college costs hasn't been higher quality professors, hasn't been better services and equipment and more for the students. It's been administrative costs. The schools are basically guaranteed money from the federal government after they took over the loan program, from basically seizing it from almost every other private loan giver, except for a few exceptions that live out still nowadays, like Sally Mae. They were able to get a monopoly almost on these student loans, and the education system knew, well, we're being funneled in with students who are said like, hey, you got to go to college, you got to get loans from the government. We'll work with the government to get these loans. We'll set prices that can help us make more money than we've ever had before. And that's exactly what's happened.
Exactly.
You can't say that education is better now than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, hell, even 35 years ago. Some people would even argue it's even gotten worse, especially on the high school and middle school level. It has clearly gotten worse. As we were just talking about earlier, with how the New Jersey is changing their standards for what was considered an acceptable grade to be able to pass further. And even in Maryland and I know in Pennsylvania, a lot of the underperforming students are just pushed forward, even if they're still not performing as well as they should be.
Yeah, even in
Point
PA, they
being
got
is,
rid of the need for a bachelor's degree for like 94% of government jobs, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
That
So
was
like,
before I left PA, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. So a lot of the times when the government does get involved, the form of acceptedness of how the system's going to work and lack of care for what happens with it comes into play. So college, they didn't care that the students were going to be charged with so much debt being put on them. They are going to get that guaranteed government money. High school, these public school systems don't care that the students really aren't getting the education they deserve. They're going to still be getting public school education money. So
Basically,
these insurance companies, we've seen these rates go up higher and higher and higher. They've got guaranteed money coming in from Obamacare. And listen, I believe in Medicare for all. I want to wipe out the insurance companies completely. Honestly, get rid of them all. Have the government be the single payer for the entire country for all the citizens and the more people who contribute to the tax system. And if somebody is, if somebody is a non-citizen or not isn't in the system to be Medicare for all, the government would work with a different program where they would still pay out of pocket. And I hate to say it like that, but the top priority should absolutely be the citizens, the green card holders, and the legal residents. And you can't really accommodate and track every single illegal that comes into the country. And I'm plenty fine with illegals. I'm not somebody who's going to come on here and spew ICE nonsense saying that we
Yeah.
need to deport these people. I grew up with illegals. They're fine people. Most of them don't commit crime. But immigrants commit crime at a lower rate than natural born citizens.
Yes, they
But the
do.
point being is that we need to take care of the people who we know and have data on, all the information on needed to be able to get in the system. And if we want to have Medicare for all, we need to abolish all the insurance companies, or at least have a completely dominate in terms of coverage rates and the prices, because we'd be able to set prices with hospitals. If they don't accept it, we just throw in the strong arm of the government. And I hate how the government hasn't done that. But back to the point of what the current situation is like. These insurance companies are getting guaranteed money from the federal government massively through Obamacare. And I like the intention of it. I know what it was for, to be able to expand healthcare and coverage and more
Yep.
across
Yep.
America
Yep.
with the
Yep.
marketplace and more and more. But it's clearly resulted in these companies getting beyond greedy about the money they're guaranteed to get, and now they're just ballooning up prices.
And
And
I could
I
agree with that. I think I could definitely agree with the fact that there is that level of greediness. Definitely
absolutely, and
100%.
I could
100%.
see that there's multiple ways to go about fixing that greediness.
You see,
But
I would,
with the
yeah.
current solutions with the current solutions in play, I should say, I definitely argue that taking money that's guaranteed to go to these health insurance companies and then putting it into private banking accounts for health reasons for into Americans' pockets is definitely better, because then that means two things. One, you can hold that money and decide not to get health insurance and just pay out of pocket directly when you go to the doctor or the hospital. Which, if you go to the hospital is a risky game. But
Yeah.
doctors, they prefer out of pocket direct pay
You better hope
because they don't
that
have to
that
go
deposit
through
got a couple
insurance
checks in
companies.
it, got a couple commas in it. If you're going to be going private for your insurance, depending upon what you have. I mean, I'm not going to. It's personal, but I've seen medical bills.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Hospital's a wild card,
So
but doctor
that's
bills are something or aren't actually that crazy. Like hospitals
right,
are
but
a
it also
special
depends
thing
on
that
like
can.
what you. It also depends on like what you have. Like I that is that no, there's no that no.
Then let me hear
I
your
put it
case.
the
Stay your
same
case.
thing.
That's all I want to
I
hear.
put it the same thing like the stimulus checks. Everyone got them. Individuals wasted them. Individuals used them, and that is not how healthcare should be approached. Yes, is the system messed up? Yes, do insurers get way more straight direct money than they actually should? Yes, probably. But what I would rather have is let's extend year and a half. Don't make it 2 years, whatever you want to do. Extend them, but then now let's pledge to make things better. Let's pledge to make things work by working bipartisanly, speaking with doctors, lawyers, things of that. I know some individuals in Congress like that, but you need to talk to the experts. I think just having a health savings account for everyone, like, yes, that's good, but how much money is going to be in that account? How is that going to be divvied out between everyone? Is
Oh
someone with
yeah,
existing conditions
I
going to
would
get
want to see
more
that too. I would want to see
than
that too.
like, but is someone who's um 21, how much are they going to get? $500 maybe, because they're so young and don't really need that much coverage. Like there's so much that goes into really detailing how much money individuals will get. Because let's just say you get $2,000, that may not even be enough to cover your care. And then what? You have to come out of pocket again, even more on top of everything. I don't think that that's. I don't think that I when I saw that, I'm like, uh, as you can see, I don't have words for it realistically.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the health insurance prices go down. That's
No,
why I
I want
do
to see
think
them
that
too.
taking
Like,
away that federal government pipeline would be a good idea. But I also do know that you can't just a bit. Like I said, I'm a big advocate for Medicare for all. I don't want the insurance companies to be able to have the luxury and choice of guaranteed government money while they continuously scam Americans. That's why I think the government should just completely get rid of that and have their own system set up. And then if they want to leave the insurance companies there and they can just compete with them, and the government would get all the business because they'd be the cheapest price. Sure.
Right. And I'm understanding too that I think Medicare would still be a thing. I have
Yeah,
no
it's
clue.
literally just expanding Medicare, and then you could just
Expanding
work to
Medicare,
make
just
it
get
more
rid of
effective.
just getting rid of Medicaid. Well, one of them's no, they're both staying realistically. So okay, just changing it up a little bit. But yeah, I would not do that savings account. I think that's the worst way to go about it. But that's also for voters. They're probably like, oh yeah, throw that money in my account. I'm not going to get healthcare insurance until you slip and fall, and now you have a $5,000. Well, let's just say $1,000 bill, and you use all that money for nonsense. So now what?
For nonsense.
Now
I
what?
mean, you get penalized on it for using it for anything but health purposes, which would make it double even funny. That'd be the peak irresponsibility.
Yeah, I mean, no, that would be the only. Is that actually in? I mean, there is no.
That's how
language.
HSAs work. HSAs that if you they're put into your account pre-tax, basically from your paycheck, so they don't get taxed. Gets put right into your account. It's money that you can use without getting taxed on health insurance, not health just insurance specifically, but health related expenses, doctors, hospitals, prescriptions, things like that.
But yeah, it's really about like too many moving parts on that. How much money is the individual going to get? How's the breakdown? What's the calculation? What's the equation to even freaking break it down? Like it's just a whole lot of things that I don't think that we're honestly. Oh yeah, okay. I'm looking at the comments. One battle another. Yeah, one battle after another. Great fucking movie.
I didn't even know that was a
Theater
movie.
experience, bro. It's so good, dude.
What's
it's
it
like
about?
a
2020.
yeah,
Oh wait, I think I've seen marketing about this.
Yes, bro. It's so you have to watch. I mean, I don't think it's in theaters anymore, but dude, that ending scene, the whole car chase ride, bro. Dude,
No, let's see.
please watch that movie. But
yeah, I have a friend who's been who's been recommending me movies.
yeah, I
Check
think
that
with
out.
that movie they used cameras from like 1960 that they revamped for this movie. That's why I was hyped to see it in theaters because I like things like that. It's always cool to see how they change the way that they're using cameras, using different production styles. I mean, me and my girlfriend, we're gonna go see the new Avatar movie on the 18th, actually the day before. It comes out like on Friday. We always see him on Thursday, so we're gonna be seeing
the new Avatar.
Yeah, new Avatar on next Thursday. Yeah.
The third one's already coming out.
Yes, it is. Ash of
Oh
Fire,
shit!
baby. So
I haven't seen any marketing on it. That's why I'm like, oh my god, is it real?
what plays in front of that is the Avengers Doomsday trailer, a 7-minute teaser for Odyssey.
I know you're excited.
Oh gosh, yes. And then Martin Scorsese's UFO movie, which I'm kind of hyped to see because it's Martin Scorsese. So I'm looking forward to see all three of those. I told my girlfriend, I was like, we need to be in our seats by 6:15 because that's when
actually making it to the movie on time. I always give like 10-15 minutes because I never want to watch the trailers, but actually wanting to watch the trailers. Those sound like some good trailers.
Bro, what Avengers Doomsday trailer? That's like
right.
Come on, brother. That's all the
a 7-minute trailer, bro. That's like fucking. That's like a third of an anime
episode. The 7-minute trailer is for the Odyssey, which comes out next year as well.
That makes sense.
Have you read the Odyssey before? You know of the Odyssey, brother. Oh my god! Please do yourself. If anything you take away from this podcast, listeners, please do yourself a favor. Watch the movie.
Burn down the insurance system.
Yes, that too. Go Luigi. No, I'm just joking.
We don't condone murder.
Yeah, we don't condone murder on our podcast.
American justice.
But I really would
interpret that as you will.
I really would want everyone to go watch Troy and then learn more about the Odyssey. The Odyssey is probably one of the most important pieces of fiction to ever exist. Every single superhero, every single epic story, everything, like the hero's journey, like everything that from like you learn when you're in elementary school and middle school and stuff, all comes from the Odyssey. It's literally the precipice for almost every single almost written novel story about a superhero, like a warrior, anything of that nature. Everything derives from the Odyssey. So with Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey, now he's one of my favorite directors. He's the GOAT. If you've never seen Interstellar, dude, please go watch Interstellar. Never
I
seen
actually
Inception,
haven't. That's on the bucket list
watch
of mine to watch
Inception.
too.
Watch every single Christopher Nolan movie because in the same token, what he does is that I know we're kind of we still have one more section left, people.
Yeah, give me a
But
second. My neighbor's got to get her pot roast out of my oven.
oh yeah, go ahead. But with all those Christopher Nolan movies, they're all each one ties to or has a premise tied to it that goes all the way back to the Odyssey movie. Actually, you can look it up and see all the different movies from Inception, Interstellar, to what other movies are there? From The Dark Knight. Actually, all of those movies
Oh
that
yeah, I've
he's
watched the Dark Knight movies. I
so
watched
all
the Dark
those
Knight.
movies that he's made, they're all different piece
Oh
elements
man.
that tie to the Odyssey overall. And then now finally, so listeners, please go out, watch those movies, catch up on read the Odyssey, great movie as well. Now we're going to be moving to our last and final section, looking at global issues and internationally what's going on. So internationally, Trump's foreign policy boast about um, colliding with reality, including fresh pressure on Ukraine, where his envoys have given President Zelensky days to respond to a U.S. peace proposal requiring territorial concessions to Russia in exchange for very vague security guarantees, with Trump aiming for a deal by Christmas amid Zelensky's consultations with European allies like the UK, France, and Germany, and Italy to avoid fracturing Western Europe. So the president has repeatedly claimed to have, let's just say, he claimed to solve 8 ongoing wars, yet none have actually ended. Ukraine continues losing in the Donbass, roughly 10 square miles per week. European allies are furious over U.S. aid cuts that analysts say are handing Vladimir Putin a strategic gift, and Vladimir Zelensky remains adamant that no territory will be seceded. And he actually has stated that Ukraine is ready for elections. So we can see we will see what's going to happen if Zelensky will be put back into office or if someone else will reclaim that Ukraine presidency from him. And then we have in Gaza, both Israel and
I want to
Hamas. Yeah,
comment
all
on
right.
this. Before we get into Israel, because I always have a lot to say about that. The what do you think about the whole Ukraine situation? What they should do?
As what
Should
Ukraine should
Ukraine just
do.
agree to a ceasefire where they give up the land? Should they keep fighting to try to reclaim that land? Where should they stop if they do try to reclaim the land? Things like that.
It's a tough one because I mean I understand Ukraine wanting to keep their sovereignty. Realistically, is what it's going to come down to. The way I look at it, I would not give up that land because then realistically, it's appeasement. What stops him from going after more? We saw Crimea. We saw Ukraine now, like pieces of Ukraine now trying to be taken. Each step he's been able to have this done with, I would say, very least and harsh consequences on the United States side for what we've done. Yes,
We've
have we
sanctioned the
armed?
shit out of him back though.
No, yeah, that's
What do you want us
perfectly.
to do? Drop bombs on him?
That's fine and dandy, but as we were saying, it's not working. Yes,
Well, yeah.
we sanctioned him with Crimea, and they still got it. Yes, we're sanctioning him with Ukraine and Donbass, but now we're seeing that President Trump is like, yeah, they need to have the Donbass for this war to end. So what stops them from pursuing anything else, going any further? Realistically, like you got to think in his mind, he's like, all right, yeah, I have Crimea, I'm getting a piece of Ukraine now. He had to wait 8 years to get 2 different pieces.
Yeah.
So
I don't
it's
think the
not like
Russian
it
army
can't not
really is
happen.
that capable to further do a land invasion, especially of mainland Europe where NATO kicks in.
No,
They,
probably not like a mainland country, but like I mean, Ukraine's not in NATO, so who's you
I
know?
know. I think that's my big shtick also with NATO and how they've been trying to demand the United States. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Putin. I do think the United. Speaking of this, like it's a game of war, sending foreigners to die to take out one of our top adversaries, probably our only actual enemy, because I wouldn't call China an enemy because we've never had any militant issues with them. But Russia, except the Korean War technically, and but that's not really. That's a
Yeah.
tough one. They but Russia, we've had much more of a less than friendly history than any other country.
Yeah,
Being able to have our weapons industry make money while we send other people to kill Russians, and then that's all we do. Speaking it
yeah.
from a game of war scenario, yeah, that works out well.
No, yeah,
They
definitely.
now that's why I said like my biggest issue with this whole situation is that we're using American taxpayer money to send the Ukraine to then buy American industry weapons. Europe should just be
Yeah.
accumulating the money to do that. We should not be we should not have our money taken to go to war. That's the whole situation I have with all these wars. Is that they're not getting money from other countries, they're getting money from their own taxpayers to buy these weapons.
Yeah, I would do something like if I had to make up some sort of deal off the fly real quick, I would do no territorial switches. Ukraine would be banned from NATO so that there is no more indecisions, no more encroaching, no more Putin feeling like he's being choked by NATO. But at the same token, Russia would have to be held feet to fire about invading and building up armies. Realistically, that's how I would honestly look at it. Both would need to come to the table. Zelensky doesn't get what he wants. I would say there has to be some. I would think there has to be some form of exchange of something, whether it's minerals, whether it's payments, something that Russia would have to get so that they are okay with not getting the Donbass, but also with Ukraine being okay with not being in NATO, but also knowing that they are going to be secure from Russia. That's kind of how the angle I would try to look at it in a sense, not making everyone happy, but just making everyone pissed off at each other. And to the fact where it's like, all right, yeah, I guess this is the only way that this works. Because as you see, Zelensky's not going to go for the Donbass. So even to put that out there, try to pressure that out there, it's like, okay, like you
Zelensky
can
needs
try
to
to
be taken
pressure him
out
as
of that
much as you want.
position.
Like you
Can't
can, yeah.
honestly, Zelensky needs to be taken out of that position. He's quite corrupt.
No, yeah, I don't think he's the best politician to be in that position. I think someone else a younger individual can definitely come up in the ranks and change Ukraine and maybe even
I mean, doesn't
have.
even have to be someone young or just someone who's sensible about how to do the war and not going to be corrupt about it. He's
Yeah,
basically been
realistically.
he tried to make the two what's the word I'm looking for? The two non-corruption and governmental bodies. He tried to basically disband them, and that's why there was so many protests in Ukraine. Was because he was like, "Hey, let's get rid of these guys that make sure I don't go corrupt." Damn. But aside from that, honestly, what I'd really want to see done, and what I know isn't going to be done, but I love to see done, is Russia gets massive amounts of economic and financial benefit and aid from China, Iran, India, things like that. They
Bricks.
and we try to tell these countries to not deal with Russia, and then we try to bully around Iran in the process. And I remember India specifically even had a this is among trade talks between the United States and India, and the United States like we want you to stop buying Russian oil, and then the United
Yeah.
States and India said, well, if you don't want us to buy Russian oil, then we'll need to buy Iranian oil, which we
Wait,
literally
which
don't
one?
have a choice there. It's one or the other. We can't get oil from anywhere else. Which one's it going to be? These are the only ones that are economically feasible for us to not basically destroy our economy. We're not going to destroy our economy for a trade deal with the United States. So it's either Russia or Iran. And
Yeah.
I'll occasionally say Iran because feel more academic, but I like to say Iran because it makes me feel more American.
Hmm.
But to that note, I think that if we really wanted to, we need to. The reason why we hate Iran is because of Israel. So we'd really need to just throw that Zionist entity away, which is why I said this would be very unlikely, at least in the current future. We need. I really hope Newsom's been talking a lot about how he's been not been taking money from APAC and stuff like that. I
Yeah, I
really
watched that.
hope
I watched that interview.
yeah, I
Mm.
really hope he doesn't have some blackmail on him or something else. But he doesn't seem like you never know. A lot of people have skeletons in their closet. You never know.
No, you
Damn,
really
but I
never
never would have
know.
expected Putin to possibly have a Trump blowing bill. Anything can happen. World's a crazy place,
Yeah,
but
world's a very crazy, crazy, crazy
it
place.
is.
It's
So like
even
I really do think that they need to strangle Russia economically. And China, they're too powerful to like incentivize because they literally gain nothing by listening and they lose something by listening. And especially in that they dominate the East. So they're really viewed as the unstoppable force,
well, you're in
really, honestly.
2026. The Project 2026. They're going to try to take on China somehow. Don't know how.
Yeah.
Clearly, didn't work for uh, the farmers at all.
Mm-mm.
Did we touch on that? The $12 billion for.
We briefly mentioned it. Briefly mentioned it.
Oh yes, I'll get that before we. I'll just touch on that real quick. So announced $12 billion farmer bailout funded through the Commodity Credit Corporation and offset by tariff revenue, including 11 billion in one-time bridge payments for row crops like corn, which are facing a $16 billion national loss, and soybeans, which is facing a $11 billion loss. So that is a $27 billion loss on both crops, and they're getting a one-time payment of 11 billion. Put that in perspective. Plus 1 billion for specialty crops, though Arkansas farmers and others dismiss this as insufficient, stating that it is a far cry from what we need. Per one grower, failing to restore lost markets or offset multi-year shortfalls exceeding 27 billion for key staples like cotton or rice aren't going to be the things that get them back on their feet realistically. So mind you, that is our taxpayer money that is going to farmers because of the trade war that Trump had with China over the Venezuela soybeans that they weren't buying from Venezuela, because Venezuela was still selling the soybeans to China. It's a whole soybean fiasco.
Argentina, I
But
thought.
yeah, sorry, Argentina. I'm saying Venezuela. Thinking about
Yeah.
the freaking
Racist.
him
All
him
South
going to
Americans are the same. Is that what you're saying, MJ?
no, I
Mikhail?
just had Venezuela in my head because about the whole hashtags thing and
Yeah. He's
when
gonna go to jail. He's gonna go
they
to jail
killed
for
those
that once this administration
survivors
loses power.
and yeah. But that's so farmers. I hope you guys don't vote Republican when you guys get this bailout because who knows, it could happen again and it could keep happening for the next 4 years. You never know. But back to the global pieces, we're going to round up with Gaza and Venezuela. So in Gaza, both Israel and Hamas say a second phase of the ceasefire is close, but Hamas accuses Israel of continual violations and
They
refuses to
are.
move forward without stronger guarantees and pressure from Netanyahu. Mohammed, I believe you shared this with me that Israel was working with a consultant firm to try to figure out how to rebrand their image. And basically, it's like there's nothing they can do to shine themselves from all of the Gaza's, all of the Gazan blood that has been spilled on by their hand, by Israel's hands, realistically.
Yeah. So what they're really looking at doing is, I mean, the goal is to control all of Palestine and keep growing from there.
Yeah.
And their goal right now is Gaza Strip is a very big part of that because it is now in the section of where it is blocking basically the connection of Israel, what is called modern day Israel, and around this chunk that it is has majority controlled, whereas the West Bank is a much larger swath of land they've been slowly encroaching on and murdering citizens there. But to the point is that they hired a consulting firm who said the damage is done publicly, PR wise, based off the genocide you guys are doing, ethnic cleansing genocide, or however you want to say it. But it's one or the other. It's not even a question.
Yeah,
And
not even a question.
but it's
Nope.
like in order to kind of recoup the image, you need to make Muslims seem to be really sick and twisted individuals. And so,
Unfortunately, it's
and
god
yeah,
awful.
and that's really what's happening. I mean, Israel even talked about, I believe it was one of the higher ups in the government, blanking on his name right now, but Netanyahu also shared his thoughts on it. It was basically what they called like the eighth front of the war, and
Mm,
it's all about the social media and information and propaganda front. And the plan is to buy social media platforms, flood it with pro-Israel propaganda, spread a lot of Islamic hate, and just basically then make it so that people think of, oh well, you have to they have to ethnically cleanse and genocide the Muslims because they're trying to murder them all. It makes
mm-hmm.
sense because the Muslims are dirty, XYZ. I don't, there's a lot of things I can't say on here, but there are people that aren't compatible with the West, which is something you'll hear
Yeah,
often. Islam isn't compatible with the West, which Islam is a more relaxed version of the Christian and Judaism rules, and for the people who actually read the books.
yeah, it
They,
really
which is
is.
so funny to me how the Christian nationalists will be like, "Oh well, I can't. They do things in Islam that I don't like." Buddy, have you read your book? Like, have you read your book? The prophets in your book have had dozens of wives that were children because that age, moment you hit purity, boom. You know what I
Boom.
mean?
Yep.
Sure, 13-year-old, you're a child in today's age. and historically that's like a 100 to 25-year-old belief that we've had. It's very modern in the grand scheme of time. That once somebody hits puberty, they're still a child. Heck, we had children working in like coal mines and chimney
Yeah.
shafts at like the age of 5.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
literally less than even 100 years ago. They were treated as much more responsible beings than what we consider them now. But to the point is that there's a lot of things that Christians and others don't view as get view as double standards, and so they're looking to kind of take full hold of that ignorance that exists in a lot of the Christian population, and regarding to what they actually know. It's MJ. There's a stat out there, Mikhail, that blows my mind. So about 65% of Christians in the United States think 65 to 70% think going to church is an important part of being a Christian. Only 30% think you have to read the Bible. So more than double the Christians think it's more important to go to
To the
church
church didn't read the
than it is to
Bible.
read the Bible. I'm like, so you don't even know what's in the Bible. You don't. Your pastor's telling you, which makes me want to bring up this because it's a perfect time to bring this up. What more than 1,000 pastors and priests went to Israel on an all expense paid propaganda
Oof.
trip lasting a week long. This is why there's such Zionist support in America. These people don't read the Bible. They claim to be Christians. Most of the Christians that do read the Bible don't fiddle with any of this shit. Ted Cruz is a perfect example of this. He was talking about so much the Bible commands us to support Israel. Tucker Carlson, where is it in the Bible, Ted? Where is it? I don't know, actually. Like, dude, you haven't even read it. You haven't even thought about what the Bible says because you haven't even read it. You can't think about what you haven't read. You don't know what you don't know. And it is pathetic how these people are just so
Take your time with it.
influential in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ridiculous how deep the Zionist propaganda has gone to really rot these people's minds. We're like, dude, perfect example is but Islam doesn't belong in Europe. I come from a Muslim majority country in Europe. It's been Muslim majority for 100 plus years. It's a very European country. The people think that try to portray this that the Islam is just the Middle East. That is literal Zionist propaganda. Most Muslims are Asian. Indonesia is the biggest Muslim country in the world. They look nothing like the Saudi Arabians. Nothing. It's just so frustrating as a Muslim man, as you can tell, how much I have to see all this nonsense and clear lies be spread, and then it's people accepted as people who have hate in their heart, and also people who are just ignorant in their beliefs, who don't even know their own history, who then try to quote it like they're speaking scripture that they haven't even read. Like, calm
Yeah.
your ignorance down, put down the hubris, and please pick up a book. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're serving nothing more than oil for the war machine. And
Yeah. It's
this is
even
just a
worse.
great. This is so,
Mm-hmm.
dude.
Yep.
Why? That's how we've gotten so many wars. That's how people are just continuously throwing support at the fact that we need to invade Iraq. We need to invade Afghanistan. We need to go to XYZ. We need to help Israel. We need to have the 7 wars in 5 years. We need to do this. We need to. It's just frustrating how easily people are duped. I mean, people ask, "Oh, how did Nazi Germany rise to power? How did Hitler gain so much influence?" It's because of stuff like this. People don't actually care what the real reason for a lot. Most people don't actually care what the real
Yeah.
reason for a lot of issues is. They just care about what makes them feel gratified and satisfied. They don't care about taking the harder path where they have to claim self responsibility for their issues and say, maybe my life sucks because of something I did. They're like, no, I'm going to blame someone else for this because I'm not a person who would screw up. I am not a failure, and they can't accept the fact. So it goes so deep in that these people are saying, I want to go to heaven, and I'm going to do it by supporting the modern state of Israel who is genociding children, and I'm going to excuse that by using scripture I haven't read to defend it. It's infuriating, it's sick, and these people really need to learn something about the old thing they quote to believe in. Otherwise, it's not going to go good when they meet the God they fear. And they should really
Yeah.
fear God when they condone, promote, and are totally fine with starving, bombing, and murdering children and innocent women and elderly because they think it's politically convenient.
Yeah.
It is
I
so
completely agree.
frustrating, dude.
I completely agree. I actually remember during college, for my, I think it was contemporary politics. No, I think it was my, I forget the class. We might have been global or something like that. But I actually wrote an interesting paper about how if the world was never, um, if religion wasn't a thing, would there be less wars? Well, no, I said, well, if there was no religion, there would probably be less wars, like as in crusades and all the deaths that just come by and all the manifest destinies and all the, it's my God given right to take over this land or X, Y, and Z. If that was never a thing, who knows where our world would be at realistically. Like, yes, there probably would be no religious, supernatural things of that nature that everyone keeps in mind and keeps hope in. But it's like you also aren't able to use that for justification. Like
I
when
mean,
Trump was
both
like,
world wars weren't
Trump was like,
about
I'm the
religion, though.
chosen one. Like when he was on the
I
helicopter,
am
he's
the
like, I'm the
chosen one. That
chosen
shit's so
one. I
funny.
was like, whatever. It's hilarious. But it's like, you don't have people saying like that. You don't have like people in his Oval Office putting hands on him and praying for him. Like, you don't have the nonsense
That
like
shit's
that.
insane.
That they parade Christianity like it's something that's only reserved for them, and it's only like for them and Republicans, and just it's just disgustingly used. And I would say, what's the word? It's pervasive. Realistically, it's
Yeah,
pervasive usage of
absolutely, man.
Christianity
Absolutely.
across the board. Across the board, and Muhammad did a great job on rounding that up for our listeners. Now, the last piece, Venezuela. So tensions in
War
Venezuela,
crime.
yeah, have
This
escalated sharp. Yep. What were you gonna say?
So go ahead. I want to add my commentary once you describe what's happened.
So Venezuela have tensions with Venezuela have escalated sharply after U.S. forces fired on survivors of a suspected drug running boat, killing several. And I do believe this might have been. I wonder. No, this is not the boat that they put up on their DOJ website. I mean, their Department of War website and got community noted on that. It was actually not a drug boat, but anyway, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth forced the resignation of a top Navy admiral who objected to the aggressive rules of engagement, signaling a broader purge for officers unwilling to embrace the administration's hard line. And then, secondly, Trump has refused to rule out direct military intervention in Venezuela, declaring Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered in quotes, while the Pentagon quietly draws up contingency plans across multiple continents. The gap between Trump's victory lap rhetoric and persistent conflicts is becoming a defining feature for his second term. And we're seeing that very well in almost every single issue category.
So this is what I want to add. They have two things actually. I have this one. I have a good friend of mine who's really smart, and their dad and like they expressed their opinion well. Their dad worked in the military for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling me about how he hates Pete Hegseth, and which made me laugh because
Really?
you remember that all generals meeting that
Oh, that
he held,
nonsense. Yeah.
and
Oh,
they were
God.
just all glaring at him like as he was dealing with
Like,
giving
why
this
are we
like
here?
speech. Not yeah, what are you doing? Why are we here? This is so stupid.
Am I getting overtime for
And
this?
really just kind of hearing like a first person experience about it just made me also kind of laugh a bit because I mean this specifically with the Venezuela situation, they're using it and saying this is because of drugs being brought into America. They bombed the boat that wasn't even going to America, and they bombed the boat that wasn't even a drug boat. And if there was about drugs coming into the country, they'd fight the cartel in Mexico, which they're not doing. And if it was about drugs, Trump wouldn't have just pardoned I'm blank whose name I'm blanking on, a former president of a South American country. I think it was actually Central America, who was responsible for a lot of drugs coming into America. He got charged by Trump's own DOJ in his first term.
I
Trump's
forget who it
own
was.
DOJ in the first term, and then Trump appealed his not appealed, gave him a presidential pardon
But
for
this
his
is all
time in
for
his second
oil.
term.
This is all for oil, people. It's all for
Mm-hmm.
oil.
All for oil.
We want to take over
All for.
Venezuela,
They want
knock
to
over
put that. They want to
Maduro.
put the woman
Yep.
who won the Nobel Peace Prize in, who
Yep.
said, "America and Israel, please invade my country." Think about that. She won the Peace Prize saying, "Please invade my country." You know, I mean, all the Nobel prizes are nothing more than Western countries just patting themselves on the back and acting like they're geniuses. You know how many Chinese people have won any prizes regarding physics and chemistry and such like that? far less than the Western countries. And you could
Oh
argue, oh,
yeah,
sure, maybe it's just because they've invented more over here. I did they don't they don't. It's just there's a lot of innovation going on in China, and they what I find the most funny about this whole situation is that I really and when you commit war crimes during a war, you can use the fog of war as an excuse for why that happened, and then
yeah,
people generally roll with it. It's how Israel has been able to conduct this massive slaughter in recent years, using October 7th as an excuse, with the excuse, oh, we're at war. Of course, things are going to happen like this. They shouldn't have started the war, and people just roll over and accept it because they don't care about the loss of innocent life when there's the
yeah,
fog of war there. And the issue is that we're not at war with Venezuela. So this
nope,
is clearly just us bombing boats. That's
yeah,
exactly what
yeah.
it
Just
is.
bombing drug boats so that he can pander to his base. Realistically, I mean, it's all for oil. It's not a secret. It's not a
Venezuela
secret.
has the world's largest
Yeah,
oil reserves.
world's largest oil reserve, and oh, just out of nowhere, we're going to care about drug trafficking. But yet, you have ICE agents and police officers now focusing on immigration. So now that's has higher increase in drug crimes. But you care about drugs, but you're because you're going after the Venezuelan boats. Obviously, you can see here it doesn't make sense. It's easily for oil. That's what they want. Everyone knows this. It's just another play for oil. Um, who knows when he's going to strike? He says days. So Christmas, New Year's, 2026, 27, 28. Use it as a precipice to try to keep himself in 2028. Some nonsense like that. Who knows? Yeah, it's a whole hodgepodge that can really go on, but I don't think that we should be in any way instilling a leader when our economy and our even own leadership in Congress is just out of whack and in chaos, and middle class is disappearing, lower class is getting bigger. It's just like not the areas that the United States should really be turning to. That's why you see high levels of individuals are very disapproved of what the Trump administration has done with only 12 months so far. And a lot of individuals have said it when Biden became president and all the things happened. And, the only thing I have to say is that you voted for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunately, I mean, I can't.
I
I
can't
have
believe
no
how bad the
I have no
candidates.
pity. I have no
I feel
pity.
like the Democrats both times like this happened were like, well, it's Donald Trump. I bet we can get the first woman president in, and then it just backfired on them
Yeah, see, that's what
totally
we
both
can't
times.
cannot have a remake of that. That's kind of how I was saying about the whole Crockett situation. How she's that theater Democrat. Like we were talking about Cory Booker and things of that situation. I was like, we don't. I was like James Tallarico. Yeah, James Tallarico. We need
Yeah,
him to be in because he's actually an individual that I mean, from the videos that I've seen, that he's an actual
gives off
someone
that.
that's not just for the limelight. He actually wants to get in there and do good work for his constituents within the state of Texas. Um, I mean, yeah, realistically, but I
Yeah,
think that
we'll have to
rounds us
see how
up.
that goes because it's one or the other for the primary.
Yeah, realistically, one or the other, and I think Crockett gets destroyed in the matchup between the House individual. I forget who it is,
Yeah,
who's the incumbent, but I mean, yeah, and I believe that rounds it up here for behind the ballot,
good first episode
and
back after a while.
yeah, hour and 33 minutes. I think we peaked at 3 listeners, lovely. And to our listeners, thank you for continuing to tune in to Behind the Ballot, where we keep politics engaged, balanced, and informative. Always stay curious, stay critical, and stay involved. I'm Mikkel Jenkins, and until next time, keep looking beyond the headlines and behind the ballot.
I miss saying this. This is Muhammad